Welcome to Exploring with D-Rob. Let's go. Good morning. Welcome back. A little change of pace today. Down in Harlan County. Gonna head out somewhere we've been on video before. Going out to Blanton Forest. Gonna go up and check out Knobby Rock. I usually try to visit down here this time of year. Got the Topo in blooms. Hopefully I hit that just right. There'll be plenty of blooms. Could be some lady slippers. Ain't getting my hopes up. It's getting pretty late for the pink lady slippers, but may get lucky and still be a few around. But as I mentioned, been here on video before. I'll put a link to that video in the description in case you want to check it out too. Key feature today is going to be Knobby Rock. As I mentioned, I'll put a link to my other Knobby Rock video in the description below. It may give a little more detail on the hike here. But from parking, you'll follow the gravel road around behind Camp Blanton. That's where you'll find the trailhead here. Gonna follow the blue blazes around until we get to the Knobby Rock loop. Let's go. Due to time today, just gonna do the Knobby Rock loop. There is a little bit longer loop you can do that takes you further up the hill. Goes to what they call Sand Cave. Pretty much just a big rock shelter. Then there's the maze where the trail comes down through a bunch of big boulders. Pretty cool little spot. But due to time, just gonna do the Knobby Rock loop. Just a touch over 3 miles. If you did the longer loop, it'd be a little bit closer to 5. So if you have time, if you come here, be sure to do the long loop. A little extra mileage, a couple more features you get to see. But Knobby Rock is definitely the coolest part and what we're going to see today. Here's a look at the map. Gives you a good look at Blanton Forest State Nature Preserve. As mentioned, we're going to do this loop here, Knobby Rock loop. There's the longer loop. Pretty much just makes a loop over top of the Knobby Rock loop. There's also this Watts Creek Trail. I've never done that before. If by chance I have time after doing the Knobby Rock loop, we may run out by there. Shows that there's an old growth forest out there. It'd be pretty cool to see. Maybe we'll have time for it. As with most places I've been this spring, looks like some of the high wind storms we've had took out some trees here as well. They've already been out and cleaned the trail up though. As I mentioned earlier, might get to see a few late bloomer pink lady slippers. Here's one now. It's getting into mid-May, getting a little past their prime, but I guess some of the ones that bloomed a little later still have a pretty decent bloom on them. Let's come back over through here. You'll see one that's already ran its course. Slippers done wilting away. Usually don't give location for orchids, especially lady slippers. Since this is a nature preserve, there are quite a few of the pink lady slippers here. I don't remember if it was last year, maybe year before. Counted over 150 plants. So if you've never saw a pink lady slipper and come here to hike between mid-April and mid-May, good chance you could see a pink lady slipper. Coming up on our first trail junction here. If we was to keep going straight, that'd keep us on the Watts Creek Trail. As I mentioned, if I have time, I may run out there and check out that spot labeled on the map as old growth. But for the time being, I'm gonna go ahead and start up towards Knobby Rock. Trail up through here will be labeled with red trail markers. Like this one here. Here's another pretty nice little flower in bloom. I'm not sure if it's in the orchid family or not. Really nice little flower. This is white Clintonia. Getting into the second week of May. It's supposed to get around 80 degrees today. Not really looking forward to that. Feels pretty good out right now though, about 65 degrees. Unfortunately, bugs seem to be out pretty bad already this morning. And with the lack of rain we've had, I'm hoping I'm wrong, but kind of feeling like we may have a hot, dry summer. Let's hope I'm wrong though. Nice. We have an upgrade since the last visit. Looks like they've done some work and redone this little bridge here. As with a lot of overlook hikes, this hike on the way in is mostly uphill. I mean, in the second half will be the easy part. It'll be back downhill. Got another white Clintonia in bloom here. Been several of these in bloom today. Must have hit it just right this year for these. Don't seem like there was many in bloom last year when I was here. But it's getting late enough in May, hopefully. We get up here to the ridge top around Knobby Rock there. We'll find Kibby and maybe mountain laurel both in bloom. Roughly halfway up the hill here, here's a tree with a nice big burl on it. Kind of doubt we see anybody today. Judging by the sign-in book, ain't been many people visiting Blanton Forest here lately. The last sign-in prior to me was May 6th, which was 5 days ago. On this half of the loop, you pretty much follow this drainage the whole time. Down where the bridge was, we crossed over to the left side of the drainage. Getting up here closer to Knobby Rock now, we're going to cross back over to the right side. While I was talking, spotted a little friend here. Not sure what kind of lizard this is, I'll have to look him up. Tiny little fellow though. As I mentioned earlier, hoping to catch some Catawba rhododendron in bloom today. That's the Catawba that has the more pinkish purple, I guess kind of a fuchsia color bloom. These here is rhododendron as well. As you'll see, they're working their way towards podding up. These are the rose bay rhododendron. These are the ones that are more common. They're predominantly white with a little pink in the center. These bloom around the 1st of June, so these are a few weeks away. And over here on this tree, we have some if I'd have took another couple steps, we'd have found this another pink lady sleeper. After the crossing of the branch there, come up the hill maybe, I don't know, 100, 150 yards or so. Come to the next trail junction. This is where the two loops intersect. If you continued straight uphill here, that would take you on around the Sand Cave loop. As I mentioned, don't get this Sand Cave confused with the Sand Cave that is in Cumberland Gap National Park. This Sand Cave here is pretty much just a big sandstone rock shelter. Still neat. Check it out if you have time. But anyway, going to make this ride up through here. See the red blaze. Going to continue to follow those. Make this Knobby Rock loop. Should be less than a quarter mile from Knobby Rock now. Got to continue uphill just a little bit and then hit a set of stairs over here. If the heat or the hill up to this point didn't have you breaking a sweat or breathing heavy, these stairs should do the trick. Well, I mentioned we may get lucky in mountain laurel band bloom. They're really close. Got a few blooms opened up. Finally coming up on today's main event, Knobby Rock. Was hoping for a little better sky interest. Was hoping for more of this blue that's over here to kind of be down in this way instead of all this white. At least there is a little texture here. A couple little spots of blue showing through. Maybe I can salvage a decent image or two out of that. And as we look down towards where the trail goes into the woods, we have Topo. Looks like it's in full bloom too. Going to get the camera out real quick, see if I can come with a couple decent images of Knobby Rock here. I guess the first time that I came here, kind of got spoiled. Had a blue sky with some nice big fluffy white clouds. If I can find the image from that trip, I'll pop it up now. Mentioned the trail cutting into the woods there where the Topo are in bloom. Maybe we'll make out a couple little yellow markers there, little trail markers on the rock showing you which way to go. It's down the left side of the Knobby Rock. Kind of follows the wood line down through there. Takes you back into the woods down there at the road. The sky is not cooperating too well. Most of the clouds and texture that's in the skies. I kind of moved on to the east there. Kind of left with just this white blanket, which in the video I guess the blue's showing up a little better than by eye, so maybe it'll look the same on camera. Here's the Topo in full bloom. Nice big blooms. And here we are at the base of Knobby Rock. Looking back up. Here's a Topo that hasn't opened up yet. As you can see, it's a really deep fuchsia or purple tint. And when they open up, they keep the purple tint. These have been in full bloom for a while. As they age a little bit, they do get a lighter purple color. When they first open up, they're still the pretty bright purple, pinkish, deep pink, I guess. Whatever color you want to call it. Looks like the majority of the mountain laurel's still at least a few days away from blooming. And every once in a while there'll be a few open blooms. Kind of remind me of little parachutes. One last look at the Topo. I spent way more time here and at Knobby Rock than I had intended, shooting, getting some images. I'm gonna try to make good time, head back down towards parking here. If I have enough time, when we get down here to the base of the hill, we'll shoot out Watts Creek Trail real quick. We'll see what it looks like when we get to the bottom of the hill. Hopefully, don't encounter any large black friends. First visit here, on my way back down the hill down through here. Scared off a bear. So hopefully he don't see Smokey on my shirt and want to come visit. I mentioned earlier nobody had signed in on the sign-in sheet in the past 5 days, and I'm pretty sure I've took out all 5 days worth of spider webs this morning. After you leave Knobby Rock and get past the first little bit of mountain laurel, trail comes down into pretty open woods. As you see, it's not very thick down through here. But once we get back about halfway down the hill or so, we start getting into some more mountain laurel and rhododendron. It's a little thicker as it goes into the switchbacks. And as I mentioned, once we start into the switchback section going downhill here, get into the mountain laurel, as you can see here, gets a little thicker. Through this section here, you almost get into like a little mountain laurel tunnel through here. And for me this morning, the worst part about these mountain laurel being so close together, make for a whole lot of spider webs. Not many podding up or blooming down through here, but here's some with a few open blooms. And as you come out of the switchbacks, get back into a more open woods. Coming back down to the bottom of the hill now, back to the next trail junction. I think we've got enough time. We'll run out through here and check out this Watts Creek trail real quick. The trail started out in a little bit of a tree tunnel, but as you come on out, you see good ways up each side of the trail. Here's a nice little group of white clintonia. This is how you'll find it oftentimes, is in little groups. I haven't seen a whole lot of mushrooms so far this spring, but here's a nice puffball. Saw several large piles of these rocks out through here. Leads me to believe that there's probably some homesteads out through here at some point in time. Well, I didn't really expect to see him today because he likes to come out on wet days, but there's my little orange buddy. Hey, friend. Well, we have reached the end of the trail. It's where the trail meets Watts Creek as the creek heads uphill. And as you can see, a lot of old growth back in here, especially hemlocks and beech trees. From the trail junction with the Knobby Rock loop out to trail's end here is right at half a mile. Well, I think I'll go ahead and sign today's video off here. Made it here to the trail's end, out here in the old growth section. Some really nice big trees out here. Nice and shady today too. At 80 degrees, it's really cranked up here around noon. As you can see, saturated shirt. Anyway, if you enjoyed today's adventure, if you would, be sure to give me that thumbs up. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I hope to see you guys again soon. Thanks for watching.